Your Excellency, Sir Ben Bathurst, can we ask you for your headline thoughts on the process that led to the appointment today of a new police commissioner?
Very thorough, and I'm very grateful to the Gibraltar Police Authority and particularly the chair, Peter Montegriffo, who steered this process through a number of stages, written applications, psychometric testing, discussion with the Gibraltar Police Federation, interviews, and we did have also an external police advisor and an HR recruitment specialist, all culminating in the GPA's recommendation to myself. And then I spoke to the top two candidates before accepting the GPA's recommendation.
And what can you tell us of the successful applicant?
Extremely capable. I think when you look at his biography, he spent nearly 30 years in policing, but 2/3 of that spent in Wales, in the close communities in Wales, before transferring to the Metropolitan Police, where you get really the full span of crime. And I think that's what really marks him out, is being able to span the spectrum of small communities to a sort of a national level capital, and also that he's really focused on change as well, but not very rapid change, but really analytical change, working out where to go.
The first Commissioner of Police to be appointed from outside of Gibraltar since 1997, which a lot of our viewers will immediately recognise was not long after the smuggling riots of 1995. Does the appointment of an external candidate say something about just how challenging a time it is for law enforcement on the Rock?
I would just say really challenging time for law enforcement everywhere. I think the police forces around the world, and particularly in UK and Gibraltar, you're having to deal with all the usual crimes that affect communities, but then you're getting more online as well, and you're getting more economic crime, and you're getting more organised crime. So I think that's the challenge that applies here, but it also applies elsewhere. And we need a police force, and we have got a very good police force, and we need a leader who's able to take it forward to the next stage as we wrestle with these challenges.
In evidence at the McGrail inquiry, we heard how back in 2020 both the Chief Minister and the then Governor had expressed the desire for the next Commissioner to be an outside hire. What would you say to anyone who has concerns that getting an outside candidate was already baked into the decision-making process?
Not at all, because we also had an internal candidate, and it's an open competition. Anyone from within and outside from UK, but also Canada, Australia and New Zealand could apply. But in the end, it's a competitive process that was open to all.
The McGrail inquiry has shown the RGP in an embattled state. What would you say to someone who thinks that an external candidate was indeed needed to bring order without the baggage that a local candidate might be said to carry?
I don't think either the GPA or myself approached it on that basis. It was a competition where the candidates who applied were assessed, and very much based on merit. Commander Richards was selected.
And what would you say to anyone thinking that the external hire is a slap in the face for the local candidate?
I mean, clearly, and I've spoken to the internal candidate a great deal. Clearly it's going to be a disappointment. But I think anyone of us that's grown up in and spent their career in a uniformed organisation knows that one's position is achieved on merit, and it's against other candidates as well. And as often is the case, there is always someone better than one, and you just have to accept that. But I know throughout it will be what is best for the organisation, and I'm very grateful for the GPA of having selected and recommended an excellent candidate.
No concerns then about a negative impact on morale?
Well, I think what we got to look at is how do we build a broader field for the future, and part of that are structural considerations within the Royal Gibraltar Police, part of which is also what experiences they may be exposed to throughout their career. But it doesn't happen very often, as you've said. You know, sort of two external candidates in 30 years, and we're not prejudging what would happen. Far too early to tell. In 4 years' time, when Commander Richards' tenure comes up for renewal.
And how do you think Mr. Richards can compensate for the lack of local knowledge, for coming to a new community and not yet knowing it?
Well, I think similar to myself, if you come in from outside, you are very dependent on taking advice from your team and more widely as well. So I think ultimately, like any good leader, he will consult his senior management team, he'll consult the rank and file, he'll consult the Gibraltar Police Federation and others in uniformed services in Gibraltar, and the government and the community. So it's all about, I think, gathering the information, gathering the knowledge to inform his decisions.
And on a similar note, we keep on thinking, some of us hoping, that a treaty isn't too far away. What would you say about the RGP's relationship with Spanish law enforcement going forward?
I think it will be a great opportunity for enhanced cooperation. So clearly some challenges will be presented, and equally there'll be opportunities for a greater collaboration with our Spanish neighbours.
And the fact that Mr. Richards won't have those relationships personally, does that concern you?
I think most professional organisations like the Gibraltar or the Spanish police, those professional relationships will transcend nationality or background, and they will work together because that's what their communities here and across the border will want them to do.
And the Royal Gibraltar Police has seen a number of senior officers retire recently. Do you expect those vacancies to be filled locally, or could they be recruited internally and externally?
That's a matter for the current commissioner, the future commissioner, and in conjunction with the GPA to take a view on. I had the pleasure of attending a Royal Gibraltar Police pass-off parade the other day, and found a fantastic selection of people from varying experiences. Many from Gibraltar, but equally quite a few from UK as well. What I would say is there are still vacancies in the RGP that we need to fill. So any of your viewers and your listeners who hear this perhaps consider a career in the Royal Gibraltar Police. Extremely valuable, really important for the community. We need Gibraltarians to step forward.
And finally, Sir Ben, you have said in your written statement that you think Owain Richards is going to bring a fresh approach to policing Gibraltar. How so?
Because I think of the range of his experience. And I think we've covered his experience in Wales in the community level. Equally, more complex communities in London. But I think particularly getting exposure to the range of economic crime, and the RGP has a very effective economic crime unit. But that's really of strategic importance to Gibraltar because of its reliance on financial services. Really important that we are ensuring we know what's going on, and then adapting to new and emerging crimes as they're detected, as well as quite a lot of legacy and historic crime that's becoming apparent.
Anything else you'd like to tell us, sir?
I think that's fine. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.